always ensure that we're going and we're recording. Hello, welcome. It's January. We're getting into January. The sun is rising a little bit higher in the sky every day we move forward. That's something to be hopeful for, and looking forward to maybe spring or some way in the distance, but it's coming. I'm always hopeful this time of year. And as I say that, we've got Laura joining. Let me let Laura in. And we'll get started. Hey, hi Laura. We're just starting, so welcome. So yeah, seated, standing, take your places, and we'll get moving. I'm kind of still having a kind of easy-ish theme for January. I kind of feel a little bit tender. I've had a bit of a rough run up into Christmas with pain and things like that, but that's okay. We live, we get on with things. So here we go. So seated or standing, doesn't matter. Wider stance for those of us who have chosen to stand up. And again, it's this shift of weight. So a bit of a focus at the moment in all our classes is just this lateral or side to side shift of weight and just moving very comfortably within that range. So we're just going to do a little bit of a theme on this side to side motion. So just get used to that idea. If you are seated, you are shifting weight from hip to hip. And again, that in itself, even when we're seated, requires lots of stabilization and mobilization in the trunk. So again, in some respects, when we're seated, it can actually be even more of a challenge. I'm going to walk my feet in. Okay. So we'll come back to that in a moment, but let's do 3 progressions of Chi Shift. Should be very familiar, just lifting the hands and arms in place and then down. We'll do this 3 times. Could be a breath in. Very gentle. Letting go of tension, physical, mental, emotional tension as we do so. Into opening hearts. That's it. And close. And then down. And again, we'll do this 2 more times. Again, we're just kind of mobilizing things, getting things moving. Nice and symmetrical. Okay, hopefully you've got some room to go overhead. Turn the palms out and let them fall out to the sides. Again, we'll do that 3 times. Oh, my glasses have fallen down. Keep going while I take my glasses off. Had them on my head. Where are we? Up we go. Look like a school teacher then, didn't I, with my glasses on my head. Okay. Fab. Come back down. Walk those feet in. Back to that side-to-side movement. So again, bit of a wider stance if you can for those people who stood up. We're going to hold a ball. Okay? Familiar beach ball. Whichever side, whichever hand is on top, that's the direction you're moving. And we're just going to shift our weight a bit, carry our ball over, roll it over, and then carry it back the other way. If you want to picture something a little bit more precious than a ball, picture holding a family heirloom like a vase or a clock or basically anything that you don't want to drop. And therefore you're going to be moving and handling that object carefully. And just get that idea that we're rotating the hands, turning over, carrying whatever we imagine in our hands as we move our weight from one side to the other, including you who are sat down. We'll go one more to one more side. Again, don't worry which side you head to. Turn over, come back to the center, and once again, walk those feet in. Okay, let me join people who are seated. Do my thing where I swap places, sit on a box. Okay, we're going to grasp our forearms or our wrists. And again, there's some rotation coming in, a bit of a shift of the weight as we rotate the hands and arms in a range of motion that is comfortable for you. So if you don't feel lifting those elbows too high, then don't. But if you feel as though you've got the range to lift them quite high overhead, then do so. We're doing roughly 5 turns in one direction. Nice and steady. I think that's about 5, so we'll do 5 in the opposite direction, rotations. Nice and slowly. Excellent. You don't really have to count. So I'm going to do one more. Excellent. Okay. And in keeping with this little segment on rotation, Wise Owl wouldn't be really one of our sessions without some rotation into Wise Owl. Turning, looking over the right shoulder, lifting the palms, may only be a little bit, and then turning back to the center. Doing the same on the left. Maybe with a breath in if it feels right for you, and then a nice relaxed breath out to return. And we'll do this about 5 times on each side. So we get into the rhythm of things. Again, if it feels like the breath wants to go with the movement, let it do so. That's it. Let's go again to the right. Then to the left. Once more on each side after this one. Excellent. Okay, last one seated for me in this particular segment, and we're going to hold our familiar beach ball this time and bring that bottom hand forward and up, turn over, press up and press down, creating that S shape, part the earth from the sky. Bring the hands slowly back, and then once again, see if you can imagine this sense of being encouraged to lengthen through your spine, from the base of the spine up to the top of the head every time we do so. And if you guys keep going, I can see Kate has made it off the M25 and is in the waiting room to join us. Well done, Kate. That's it. I'll join you as we do a couple more. Hello, Kate. Well done. It's okay. It's lovely to have you with us. I hope that journey on the M25 wasn't too onerous. Okay, I get the idea. Okay, just have a little rest, have a little shake out. I'm going to stand back up again for our next little segment and just move back a little bit. And we're going to have a little bit of a wider stance for those people who are standing, and we're going to tuck our hands in. We're going to do a slow motion extension of a hand. We're not pulling the rope, it's a slow motion punch, if we want to think of it. And then draw that hand back, and as we do so, we send out the other hand. And we're trying to aim for a smooth spiral. If I come closer to the camera, because I don't actually need to be that far away, I'm trying to have a spiral from the beginning of the extension and then all the way back like so, rather than just turning the hand quickly either at the beginning or the end. Try to have a smooth spiral. It isn't necessarily as easy as it looks to get that smooth spiral, so just breathe comfortably. A funny kind of cue is to imagine that you hold a pencil sharpened at both ends, sticking out from your thumb edge and little finger edge. And as you send the hand out, it goes down a tube big enough to accommodate your hand and pencil. And what would happen is that you would draw a spiral on the inside of that tube. If that works for you, it might be a useful visualization as we let the shoulders roll and then roll back and send out the other hand. Excellent. Wonderful. Bring back the last hand, doesn't matter which one. We'll step in a little bit, and then we're going to continue in a similar vein, only this time it's our pushing palms, or sometimes we call it two soups because it starts as if we're holding two soup bowls. I'm starting with my right hand. There it is. I'm going to tip that hand over and push it across to the left. So my hand crosses over and I turn it over and draw it back. And then my left hand pushes across to the right. So I get this stretch through the arm, through the shoulder, like so. And alternate very smoothly, comfortably from one side to the other. I find that if you look in the direction in which you intend to push next, that really helps get you moving in the right way. And again, just breathe very comfortably. Don't turn it into too much of a stretch. There's a little bit of rotation, but the focus is very much on mobilizing the shoulders as we do so in this nice, easy fashion. Pushing palms. I'm going to do one more with each hand. That's it. And relax. And then once again, have a shake. And we're going back to those side to side movements. So again, if you're seated, moving from hip to hip. If you stood up with me, try to have as wide a stance as you feel comfortable with. And we're going to do this silk reeling exercise from Chen Tai Chi. This is my right hand. It's in the top corner of a window frame. I've got the top of the window frame, two sides, and a bottom. And we're basically here in the top corner. Excuse me. I'm dropping my hand down to the bottom, sweeping it across as I shift my weight at the same time, picking the palm up to the top corner, and then wiping across the top of the frame back to where we started, but all with a weight shift from one side to the other. It's the weight shift that carries the hand from left to right or right to left, depending on where we are in the movement. And just see if you can have this very smooth, basically wipe along the top or along the bottom. And my palm picks up if we're at that point and drops down at that side, and it's just a smooth shift of weight. Silk reeling exercise, Chen Tai Chi. It's fundamental to getting us started in this particular form. Okay, just have again a little bit of a move, because we're going to do that again, only this time with the opposite hand. If you were with me, that will be your left hand. So get ready. Again, for those of us who are stood up, I know it can be pretty onerous sometimes, particularly in the socket. So again, don't do too much. If you begin to get achy, stop, rest, pause, while maybe the exercise continues. Don't feel as though you have to continue. Okay, so here's my left hand in the top corner, down it goes, a shift of weight across, a pick up, and then a wipe across the top. And again, I begin to get into the rhythm of the movement. One thing I noticed straight away is that I've got less range of motion on this side compared to when I did it with my right hand. That's all to do with my particular injuries and idiosyncrasies of now my body. And you may find similar differences for yourselves, left and right as well. And that's okay. So just go with the flow as much as you can. Smooth wipes up, down, across, and back again. Silk reeling. Well, sometimes people like to visualize a single silk thread, and we've got to gently wind it around a frame without it breaking. So that might be another way to picture the movement to get that smoothness. I'm going to do one more round, and then we'll call that a day. Well done. So you can probably feel, as I do, hips are working pretty hard in both side-to-side movements, but it's incredibly important that we keep those movements from side to side in our repertoire, so to speak, a vocabulary of movement, and these side-to-side movements are so important. So I've been stood up. I'm going to join people seated again. And we'll come back to some rotation. And January, what are we doing? We're casting our cares away from last year and looking forward to something new. I'm going to start with my right hand, and I'm going to look to the left and cast off to that direction, and then pick up the left hand and do the same, looking to the right and casting off in that direction, and just alternating, shifting weight again. If you feel comfortable doing that, seated or standing, you can be a bit more dynamic and get some weight moving from one side to the other. And we're also getting that mobilization and stretch through the shoulders and the trunk, particularly in the upper back, the thoracic area. If you're being a bit more technical, anatomical, then it's the thoracic spine that's getting some rotation as we do this movement, which can be, again, really useful. Casting cares away. I'm going to do one more to each side. So this is my penultimate one, and here's my last one. Good stuff. We'll come back to some more rotation, but now we're going to squeeze the hands up and then let everything go very gently, letting the hands fall away, and then squeeze again. Could be with a breath in if it feels good, and then really have this notion that you are letting go of physical and mental, emotional tension with each fall of the hands. And on this little set, we let the palms turn forward and fall down this time. Pick the hands up. Could be a breath in, then a breath out. That's it. This time, palms turn outwards and there's a little bit of a press outwards. That's it. Need to make sure we've got a bit of room off to the side. Push out. Good movement. Might get that in the neck a little bit if you feel that, so don't go too much. And then last little set is to just let the hands catch an imaginary ball in front of the hips. Squeeze. Excellent. Okay. And we're going to return to that turn that we did previously, wise owl, but now we turn it into pushing palms, or repulse monkey if we were thinking of it from Yang Tai Chi. So here we go. We turn, first of all, into wise owl, but then we push that rear palm, the right palm, forwards, and we push, 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 and then begin to transition to look into the left. And now we push the left palm forward as we rotate. And if you can imagine that we're pushing against gentle resistance, water is always a good analogy to have in mind as we do so, pushing. A bit more dynamic, a bit more effort as we do so. Try to keep the hands low. That will help avoid the arms and shoulders getting too achy too quickly. If we keep the palms low as we push, might find the palms feel a bit warmer as we do so. One more each side. Good rotation, good range of motion. Here we go, last one. Whew. Okay. 4 directions. It's a older Qigong movement, and it does what it says on the tin. We're going to push forwards, we're going to push to the side, then up, and finally down. Okay, 4 directions. We're going to do it 2 times, and we can start with our hands hanging loosely if you've got the space. We're going to pick the palms up. Slowly, imagine we gather, and then we turn, and then we push, and imagine that there's some resistance. So you have to brace a bit through the shoulders as we push forward quite strongly. And then just let everything relax. Let the hands go again, let them fall. And then pick them up again, sense of gathering, readying to push out to the sides this time. And again, this sense of resistance as we push through and extend the arms out to the side. And then there's that relaxation as we drop the hands. Pick them up again, ready for pushing upwards. Make sure you push within a comfortable range of motion for you. Look up if you can. And then relax. Hands, arms downward. Here we go. Turn the palms over and push down. You might be able to push straight down if you stood up, and if you sat down, you might be able to push off to the sides, just like so. So that was one round. We're going to do a second round. Can feel like quite hard work. Here we go. Picking up the hands, ready to push directly forward from the shoulders. There's almost a bit of a lean into the movement as we push, push, push. And then relax. So we've got this active pushing and then an active relaxation. Here we go, ready for to the sides, left and right. Push. Relax. If you remember now, upwards. So we're pushing up, overhead, or as far as we feel comfortable. And then hands relax, down they fall, and wait for them to reach the very bottom before we pick them up for the final push down towards the earth. Push, push, push. Down we go. Just like that. Excellent. Okay, we're near the end. We've had a little focus on side-to-side movement with some rotation as well. And it can be a difficult month, January. It can be grey, it can be dark, it's cold, and it can sometimes feel pretty hard in all sorts of ways. So that's why I kind of started with a positive, that every day that passes, the sun is getting higher, spring is getting nearer, and we can look forward to lighter days. So that's always something to keep in mind. We can also take our right hand, place it on our heart, and then take our left hand and place it on our lower abdomen. And if you want to transport yourself for a few minutes every day into a kind of different location and mindset, then this hand location, for some of you who've done this before, it's associated with a woodland glade type setting or a forest glade with sunlight filtering through the leaves. So if you want to just follow your breath, maybe first of all, maybe rest your eyes and then begin to build a picture of just that kind of setting. And hopefully you've maybe experienced just that kind of setting somewhere, either in this country or maybe in another part of the world. Sunlight coming through green leaves. It's warm. It feels comfortable. When you breathe in, there's that woodland smell. You can hear the buzz of insects and the songs of birds and all those kind of woodland foresty sounds and sensations that we get in that setting. And just breathe it in. And really picture yourself in that scene. And at some point, as much as I'd like to leave you there for the duration, we have to bring you away. But again, now you know that you can always return if we take the hands away. It's a really simple little meditation. That's what it would be called. That can enable you a little bit of breathing space with an otherwise quite dull day sometimes. I sometimes do this when I'm stuck in traffic and nothing's moving, and I'll just, okay, I'm stuck in traffic, there's nothing I can do, we're not going anywhere, so switch the engine off and spend 2 minutes transporting myself somewhere else. And then obviously we've got to come back to the reality, but I've gained a little respite for my headspace. So use it as a little tool whenever you think it might be helpful. That's the end. I hope that's been a nice session, relaxing, but also challenging in its own ways. And I look forward to seeing you again. You can always let me know if you've got any questions on the WhatsApp group. But let me stop the recording until next time. For those people who are watching later, I hope you've enjoyed that as well. And we'll see.